Okay, I'm hoping the live stream is now up. I'm gonna check. Oh wow, Northern Perspectives got over 500. Okay, so we still got about 6 minutes until people get up on the stage. So I can just wait. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it's saying I'm live. Now it's saying I'm live. I'm good now. I'm gonna put you like here so I can check to see if anyone comments. Oh, this is exciting. Being able to see Michael Harris on the same stage as Pierre Polyev is gonna be awesome to see. Oh, we still got a bit of time waiting. Oh, there we go. Yep, yep. Four more minutes until supposedly they start. So I'm really hoping they start on time. I believe it's being held by the Camrose County. I'm drawing a blank. I know what it is. I work for my local one. Business thing. Nope. I had it there for a sec. Almost had it for a sec. Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce. I got there. Nope, here we go, here we go. We will be starting soon. I guess for 3 minutes, I know I don't really have anyone. Oh, I think I have someone. For the first 3 minutes, I'm just gonna, or 2 minutes, however long it takes to read out. I'll give a quick background. Michael Harris is currently the Libertarian candidate for MP in the Battle River Crowfoot riding out in Alberta. I was able to actually interview him, which you can watch on the channel. He's a great guy. We're both a part of the same Students for Liberty organization. Signs are great. We have 10 candidates right now who will be. It's a forum. I don't believe they'll be debating each other, but very similar to that style. This election, it's a by-election, was called due to the fact that the Conservative MP who won back in April stepped down when Pierre Polyev did not win his election. So there's a new one in August 18th. As well as 9 other candidates, including, like I said, Michael Harris, a few independents, a few non-independents. Not everyone. I believe there's 200 candidates so far. They've actually switched to just doing a write-in election, where you have to write the name instead of clicking a ballot, because the ballot would have been 7 feet to fit all the names. All thanks to the longest ballot organization, who, like the names, just wants to make the ballot the longest it can be. Looks like we should be starting in just a sec. Oh, I was kind of hoping I'd be able to turn on captions for that, but I'm unable to. Okay, underway in should be less than a minute now. Okay, there's about, I believe, 90,000 people who can vote in the riding, so it's not a lot, but it's spending a lot of time here since it's the only by-election, and the former person who was running for Conservative Prime Minister lost his former seat and has to run here now. Especially in a very conservative riding. Someone said that 6 alt candidates are streaming this debate. I don't know who they mean by alt. There are a lot of independents, but I do believe all candidates who are a part of an alternative party are here. Oh, looks like it should be beginning now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This evening, we acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of many First Nations and Métis people. We honor their history, cultures, and ongoing contributions to this region. We are committed to reconciliation and to building a respectful relationship in the spirit of partnership and understanding. On behalf of the Camrose and District Chamber of Commerce, thank you for joining us this evening's by-election candidates forum. My name is Jennifer Fossen, and I'm president of the Camrose and District Chamber of Commerce. And it is an honor to be here as we gather together in the spirit of civic engagement and community dialogue. As a nonpartisan advocate for local business and regional prosperity, the Chamber is proud to host tonight's forum. By-elections may not always receive the same attention as a general election, but they are just as critical. They give us, the people of this riding, the opportunity to shape our representation and ensure our voices are heard where decisions are going to be being made. Tonight is about listening, learning, and engaging. It is your opportunity to hear directly from the candidates who are seeking to serve our community, your neighbors, your families, and your businesses in Parliament.
Yeah, thank you.
Whether your priorities are healthcare, agriculture, rural economic development, or small business supports, tonight is the time to learn where each candidate stands. You might ask, why does the Chamber of Commerce host events like these? Because we believe in nonpartisan education, informing voters without influence or endorsement.
I'll give a few beliefs that Michael Harris has, but I believe a lot of them would be answered during this, so just stay tuned if you want to hear his thoughts on healthcare, small business, or any other thing that they just said.
Community connection, encouraging respectful dialogue and broad civic participation. Democratic accountability, giving candidates a platform to share their vision and respond directly to your concerns. Trusted neutrality, offering a fair and welcoming space where democracy can do its work. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce this evening's moderator, Shauna Feth, President and CEO of the Alberta Chambers of Commerce.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Shauna.
Well, welcome to this Camrose and District Chamber of Commerce Federal By-Election Candidates Forum. So as Jennifer said, my name is Shauna Feth, and I will be your moderator for this evening. So this program will give the candidates the opportunity to present their political platforms on issues relating to the federal government. As your moderator, I will keep a close eye on the content of the candidates' presentations. You know, we are all here to give the candidates an opportunity to express their views on these critical platform issues. All presentations will receive specified times, with a warning signal when the candidate is running close to the end of their time, and that's being with 2 big clocks on each side of the stage to pay attention to. And so with that, I'd like to take a moment to familiarize everyone with the rules of order for the forum. These were communicated to participating candidates prior to this evening. So first of all, no signs may be brought in or posted in the auditorium attached to any walls, curtains, or doors. The forum was called to order promptly at 7 p.m. and the doors to the room have been closed, so anyone arriving late will not be able to be seated until intermission. We will adjourn at 9:30 promptly as well. So the candidates have been seated alphabetically, as you can tell, and will be at the speaker's table, starting on the right, facing the audience, and we will be introducing them in alphabetical order. Candidates will have 2 minutes to expand on their political platform, and the format of the presentation is at the discretion of the candidate, so it's completely up to them how they use those 2 minutes. The timer will give a 20-second warning, and a bell will ring at the end of the allotted time. No candidate will be allowed more than their allotted time. During the question period, I will read the submitted questions. Each candidate will have a chance to answer in speaking order. The candidate answer order will change in each round. Answers to the question will then be limited to 1 minute to maximize the number that we can ask during the time that we have allotted. We will move to the next question once those wanting to respond have been heard, and so not all candidates are required to respond to each question, but they cannot bank any time for future questions. The question period will be limited to a maximum of up to 100 minutes. Candidates will each have 2 minutes after question period to summarize their platform, and then as moderator, I will have final jurisdiction in all matters. So now a couple of guidelines for attendees. Please be respectful of the candidates presenting their remarks, as well as fellow community members here in attendance. Any disruption that interferes with the candidate's ability to speak may result in time adjustments at my discretion. Individuals causing delays or disruptions will be asked to leave the theater. And please note, for your own awareness, that the emergency exits are located on the left and right side of the theater. So with all of that, please join me in welcoming the candidates for this evening's forum. Welcome, everybody.
Oh, no, I'm having some buffering. Let me try and refresh the page here. Dang, why is it buffering now? You know, you work until the debate actually starts, and then you go down. Oh, okay, good. It's buffering. Someone just commented, this is buffering for everyone right now. Let's get this back up. Come on, guys. You got this. There's 150 people watching on just this live stream alone who are just waiting.
In Alberta right now is between Canada. We have it's the one that has the West paying for to Ontario,
My live stream is better than
or whether it's one that wants to see an Alberta strong, free, and independent that can actually stand up and make a difference in this world and actually redefine Canada. And so my discussion tonight, my platform, is about a strong and sovereign Alberta and its independence. And I think there's a lot of things in Canada that we're not talking about in relation to the public forum. And I believe that farmers are producers and not polluters. I believe that oil and LNG are a requirement for human prosperity. I believe that reverse racism is racism. I believe the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to humanity. I believe that compelled speech is not a Canadian value. I believe that multiculturalism has failed, and I believe that there are only two sexes.
Oh.
One of the challenges that we have here tonight is that there's a lot of trust, and I had my trust in the Conservative Party of Canada as well. But we are facing a threat in this nation of post-nationalism, and in this last 10 years, we've had Justin Trudeau commit to Canada being the first post-nation state. We've had a severe undermining foreign interference, and Justin Trudeau has told us that COVID would provide an opportunity for a reset. There has not been one challenge to the...
Thank you, Grant. Jonathan Bridges.
Good evening, everybody. Jonathan Bridges with the People's Party of Canada. First and foremost, I am a Christian, and I believe that Canada was founded on Christian values. With the People's Party, we believe that our platform is focused on freedom, fairness, personal accountability, and respect. So with all of that said, we see that there's not a lot of respect given to Alberta. We want to rework the equalization formula to create it to be something that is a hand up to provinces that need it, but doesn't maintain essentially a welfare state going forward. We also want to see Alberta be able to get its products to market with pipelines going across the country and to ports. I think it is absolutely atrocious that we're bringing in foreign oil to a country that has more oil than just about anywhere else on the planet. When it comes to small businesses, mostly what we're trying to do is to start off with paying off the deficit, which then brings lower taxes, which puts more money back in your pockets that you can then give back to your employees, which would create a much more robust economy in this country and bring back what I've seen there. I know there's a strong appetite for separation in Alberta right now. My goal is to bring Canada back to a place where Alberta wants to be. And I do believe that is still possible. However, I will say this, if Alberta does end up separating, I'm staying in Alberta. And yeah, that's me.
Harris speak. There we go. One more candidate. Michael.
Thank you, Jonathan. Bonnie Critchley.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to echo Grant's comments, thanking the Chamber of Commerce for putting this together and allowing us to have this time to discuss things all in one place without any spin or tall tales told. Myself, I am running as an independent. I don't have a party because I firmly believe that party politics would be damaging the Canadian politiscape. We are not American. We are not a two-party system. And while I may have run as a centrist with conservative leanings, I firmly believe that the Conservative Party of Canada has lost its way, and I fully intend on standing up for my neighbors. When our previous guy sells us out to let the guy from Ottawa come in, that is not right. I firmly believe that we need somebody here who understands our local issues, who understands the issues of right to repair, who understands that we do need proper oil sands development. Yes, I saw you there. I'm well aware where you are. We do need proper oil sands development. We need proper investment towards our farmers, and we need the federal government to wake up and pay attention outside the western border of Ontario. So that is who I am, and that is what I am here for. I am here to stand up only for my neighbors. My voice, your words. I don't have anything else to say.
Thank you, Bonnie. Michael Harris.
I'm proud to be here representing the Libertarian Party of Canada. And why I'm running in this election is because I am sick and tired of Ottawa taking advantage of Alberta on every level. We have equalization where our money is being taken away from our province and being sent out east, while small towns in this riding barely have enough money to be able to repair the infrastructure, whether that be roads or water development. And we have stuff where we have supply management, where our farmers are being locked out of an industry which represents a majority of this riding. And that also increased the costs of your groceries when you go to the supermarket. We're also dealing with high taxes and high regulations where businesses are struggling to get by. I was in Three Hills the other day, and a couple of businesses told me that they are on the brink of bankruptcy. And if their taxes go up even 1%, they'll be out of business and they'll be leaving this riding. And I'm sick and tired of that. And I also am here championing the idea of self-determination. A lot of people in Alberta are wanting to see a referendum on next year's ballot to see if we want to separate from this country. And I'm here to say that we are here to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Ashley McDonald.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley McDonald. I'm the Green Party of Canada candidate. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight, and thank you also for the Chamber of Commerce for setting this up. So far, I'm the oddity at the table. I'm not a separatist. I do believe that Alberta is best in Canada. Maybe things aren't great, but we're sure a hell of a lot better off without. All right. Thank you, everybody. So ultimately, for me, the Green Party of Canada, we believe that change is possible, but we have to vote for it. We can't keep trusting the same institutions that have been around, doing what they've been doing for the past, 100+ years. We as a society are at a precipice. We're surrounded by growing authoritarianism in the world. We're surrounded by climate disasters. Like I said, the rise of authoritarianism. Our hospitals are stretched beyond capacity. Our society is at a breaking point in many ways. And I believe that we need to come together as a society and vote for change. But we are at a precipice, and we have to make a choice. Do we want to go back, or do we want to go forward? We may hear a lot of rage farming from certain people, but we're not a party of that. We're a party of ideas, a party of people. We don't want to throw around a slogan. We want ideas from our leaders. We have ideas that we believe are the right ideas. So hopefully I can convince a couple of you to vote for us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Pierre Polyev.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much to the Chamber. Thank you to the fellow candidates, though I think that there are about 190 of them that are missing. Maybe that's the audience out there. But in all truthfulness, thank you to those who are putting their names forward, and thank you to the great Damien Couric, who has given me the chance to speak for the people of Canada and for Battle River Crowfoot. But most of all, thank you to Battle River Crowfoot, the region that feeds, powers, and protects this country. Feeds through the great ranchers and farmers, powers through the ingenious energy workers, and protects through the brave soldiers at CFB Wainwright. Makes me proud to be an Albertan. Now, in fairness, I'm from Calgary, born and raised, and Calgary's a little ways from Camrose, but there's a lot of shared values across this province and across this country. And my Alberta values taught me about faith, family, and freedom, hard work, helping your neighbors. And those values guided me to fight for the values of this region when I was leader of the party and member of parliament over a couple of decades, that I forced the Liberal government to get rid of their carbon tax. But, which is a local issue in rural communities, forced the debate on developing our resources, slowing down out of control immigration, cracking down on drugs and crime. And now I want to take the local issues and provide national leadership to fight against the electric vehicle mandate, because driving a pickup truck is a local issue in the communities across this region. To fight for law-abiding firearms owners, to fight for farmers, and to expand our military. These are local issues that require national leadership, and it would be a privilege to provide.
Thank you, Pierre. Darcy Spady.
Thank you, Shauna. Thanks to Jennifer for the opening speech, and Aaron and Shauna at the Chamber office, who've been very accommodating. I appreciate it.
Maybe dropping to 60, maybe 55. I'm not going to lose. Pierre Poilievre's most likely not going to lose, but I can see him just falling flat of the 80% they're expecting.
many years. I've worked in the energy industry. I went to the University of Alberta and went for engineering degree and have been a petroleum engineer for many years. I've worked in the energy industry in this riding from Wainwright to Morin to Camrose out to Brooks area. Been involved in stimulating, in cementing, in constructing, in doing intervention in wells all about this province, and more recently in the emissions reduction field. My family originally came to the Battle River in about 1905. They wandered in till about 1920. So the Spadies settled the Battle River area between Castor and Alliance. They still live there to this day. I grew up in Three Hills. My wife's family is in the Irma Viking area. Our families are in the agriculture business west of Acme, Three Hills, Linden. So I understand this riding well, and it's been my entire life. I did get elected in 2017 to become the international president of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, which is about 170,000 people. And I got to see what the rest of the world sees about us and our technology. It also made me realize that the people of Battle River Crowfoot need a centrist option. I haven't seen one since about 1978. So I would really love to be your responsible representative in Parliament. I would love to be your member of Parliament and sit on the government benches where I could participate in caucus of the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. Sarah Spanier.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Spanier, and I am running as an independent. And one thing that I've heard all of these amazing people do is talk at you. They haven't offered you guys any solutions on what they're going to do. And that's what I want to do.
Yes, they have. What?
I am not here to toe party lines. I am here to listen and to actually go get funding where it is needed. We have lost out enormously on the amount of funding because it has not been brought back due to party lines. And I want to bring that back for you guys. I want to help you guys build your small businesses and your agriculture and oil and gas. These are all super important issues.
I'm sorry. What she's basically saying is if you guys vote me, I'll convince the Liberals to increase your taxes so you can keep that money. That's not. You're not going to win. You win like 20 to 30 people, ma'am.
I don't answer to any party. I answer to you guys. You guys are my boss. Nobody else. There is no middleman here. So you can ensure that when you are speaking to me, we don't have to filter through anybody else. I'm here for you guys.
Too.
I already have a draft of a bill ready to go to
Ma'am,
help
you know where you're
the
running.
Affordable Food for All Act, which would lower the price of price gouging, which we are currently seeing through Loblaws and stuff. And I want to ensure that government spending is done appropriately, and we're cutting back on that. And like I said, I want to bring funding back to this area because it's there and we can grow this small rural community that we all strongly believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Catherine Swampy.
Nanaskama mamotao kisimanito. Hi ento temtek nochkiskao. Thank you so much to the Chamber for setting all of this up. And thank you so much to all of my fellow candidates for coming out here and for standing up for you.
There's 10 of them. They have to ask a
I
question
know
for each
that
one.
Damien is in the
goodness.
crowd. I'll have you know I took down 4 of your signs that were still up. You're very welcome. I will not be reporting them as still up. If any of you see any of my signs out there, because there's so many, please take them down after everything's done. Let me know, I'll go get them. But as we all know, we're basically sacrificial lambs when we come out here. It's almost a guaranteed loss. So why are we running? We're running as advocates. We want to be a voice. We want to bring issues that are otherwise ignored by the government. Issues like affordability, budget deficit, economy and jobs, the environment, our health care, our housing, Indigenous relations, our management, or I should say proper management of natural resources, our mental health and addictions, our public safety and crime, taxation, dare I say, Trump, small businesses and seniors, And I'd also like to bring it to some of my fellow candidates' attention that we are all treaty people. So that separation you're thinking about has a few more people that you need to kind of talk to before that can even become a conversation. So thank you all so much. I'm also going to be here to listen to your concerns. What do you want advocated? Because we all know this run really isn't for a new candidate.
Thank you, Catherine. Jeff Willerton.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff Willerton. I'm representing the Christian Heritage Party of Canada. If you remember one line from tonight, I hope you remember this. If you always vote for the lesser of two evils, you'll always have an evil government. Like wrestlers who practice their moves beforehand and go out for a beer after the match, the mainline parties often work together. Brian Mulroney, for instance, signed the Rio Declaration in 1992, leading directly to Justin Trudeau's economy-crushing carbon tax in 2019. It's been said by many that we wouldn't have had one without the other. In 2007, Stephen Harper, along with a certain minister named Pierre Poilievre, signed the United Nations Sustainability Act, leading to Chrystia Freeland declaring a third of Alberta off-limits to development a few years ago. And in 2009, the same Stephen Harper signed what was called the Codex Alimentarius. That strange-sounding beast regarding the labeling of food and drugs paved the way for the Red Team's assault on our natural health products industry in 2023. So one sets up the shot, the other takes it. The cause and effect may at times be years apart, obscuring the connection, but that's how it works when you have two major parties that are wings of the same bird. At other times, their cooperation can be right in your face, like when not a single member of either party raised so much as a finger to stop Bill C-4 in 2021, which threatens you with up to 5 years behind bars if you haven't tell little Johnny that he's a boy. So to be clear, the Tories aren't the solution. They're part of the problem. They always have been. Both they and the Red Team have been working together for decades to land us in this climate change, carbon tax, Gaia-worshipping, freedom of speech, crushing hell in which we find ourselves. How did we get here? By bouncing between the Blue Team and the Red Team for 158 years. How do we get out of this mess? Well, by changing course, obviously, but better parties can't take government without winning their first seat. In my closing comments, I'll tell you more about what I am convinced is simply the best outside-of-the-box political option in this country, bar none. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Jeff. So now we're going to go into the Q&A portion of the forum. So in announcing the forum, the Cameron District Chamber of Commerce extended an invitation to the public to submit questions ahead of this evening. So I just wanted to say thank you to those of you in attendance who submitted questions or anyone who submitted questions for our candidates for the forum. Candidates will each have 1 minute to respond to each question. We will move to the next question once those wanting to respond have been heard. Again, I will say candidates are not required to respond, but they cannot bank time for the next question either. So without further ado, let's jump right into the questions. So this first one, we're going to start with you, Grant, on this one, is on economy and jobs. So many Canadians recall when a single income such as that of a postal worker, assembly line worker, or rig hand was sufficient to support a family. Today, that is increasingly no longer the case. So what specific measures would you propose to meaningfully improve affordability and economic security for everyday Canadians?
No, this is a good question.
I'll tell you what, I think we need to look at immigration because our young people can't get jobs because new immigrants are subsidized in all of the entry-level jobs. Let's start there. Let's start by talking about making sure we don't have flights to Amritsar back and forth because we do have an immigration problem. It is driving up our housing prices. We had a long time Mr. Poilievre telling us that there was no link between demand and supply in our housing and or the immigration issue. We simply have to look at that. I know this question is about the economy, but let's start in terms of where our kids and our grandchildren are in terms of trying to get on the ladder. There are many things that we need to fix. We need to repatriate our industrial base to this country. We need to incentivize entrepreneurship again, and we need to stop the flight of funds out of this country. The problem is that our people are leaving this country because we have deeper problems that we never talk about in this nation, and it's rooted in post-nationalism.
Thank you, Grant. Jonathan.
So fixing the economy, mirror a lot of what Grant said. I mean, there is obviously a lot of people coming to this nation, over 1.2 million a year for the last several years. It is crowding out people in the housing market. It is crowding people out of the jobs market. So those are two very big things that contribute to affordability. The other thing the People's Party would see done is lowering taxes. The average Canadian is paying somewhere north of 42% of their paycheck straight to the government.
That's true.
The American Revolution was fought over at 3%. We have got to the point of what I believe is ridiculous with taxes. So with lower taxes, then we'd have more money to go forward. And also bringing more jobs back to Canada. We need our industry back so that we can shore up our supply chains so we don't have a repeat of what happened during COVID, where we couldn't find products to buy even.
Thank you, Jonathan. Bonnie.
I've never done this sitting down speaking thing well, so I'll stand up. Yes, basing our economy off of immigration numbers, not a good idea. But before we worry about our economy, we need to worry about our government spending. When the federal government is bloated and sending out third-party contracts such as Veterans Affairs, contracting out care of veterans to Loblaws, we need to deal with it. The bloating has to stop. We need our middle managers to actually leave instead of just cutting the teeth. We also need our MPs to stop spending excessive amounts of money when we have one person who spends more than the next two of your money. Then we can look at cutting our taxes and making our employment that much easier to manage.
Thank you, Bonnie. Michael.
So first and foremost, we need to get rid of the welfare state. Main issues number one is that this government is spending way too much money. We are both in debt and in a deficit at the same time, where we are making no money. At the same time, we are paying the highest amount of taxes that we have ever paid in our entire life. So we need to be lowering the amount that our government is spending. I see all the time where money is being wasted in random projects across the country where they're not actually going towards the services that are needed here in this riding. And to top on to that, after we got the welfare state, we need to get rid of all taxes here in this country, starting at the income tax level, going towards business taxes, because you pay taxes on everything that you do, whether it be on your paycheck, when you go to the store, driving your car, anything. You are paying taxes, and we want to fight to get rid of as many as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Pierre.
That was Michael. It's my turn now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel bad. We got your names turned around on the script, so my apologies, Michael.
That would be Ashley again.
Okay. You have to have one faux pas. It can't be perfect, right? Sorry about that, Ashley.
Just so we're clear, when we go into the ballot box, I'm Ashley MacDonald. Just think of the golden arches. It's close enough to my spelling. It'll work. All right, so basically for me, the Green Party platform believes in a restructuring Canada's resource economy, basically to establish national strategy reserves and critical resources, phase out raw resource exports by prioritizing domestic reserves, processing, and manufacturing. That will in turn create more jobs, create more industry within Canada, take our raw materials out of the hands of foreign governments who can control everything and sell it back to us at a higher cost. Then in addition to that, we are also very firmly against, wanting to end poverty. We do that through a series of measures such as strengthening the Canadian disability benefit, creating programs for families through poverty reduction incentives, as well as the creation of.
Thank you, Ashley.
I don't think that is
Pierre.
I'm not pro.
The cause of inflation is government.
They give them like
Cost,
30
yes,
seconds.
it's very simple. Supply and demand. The government is
Watch
boosting
them give more
demand
time to Pierre
and
or
limiting
something.
supply. They're boosting demand through out of control immigration and money printing that adds more money and people than new products for them to buy. And they're restricting the supply of things by blocking everything from home building to natural resource development. So what's the solution? We need to cut back on immigration. In fact, we need to have negative population growth for the next several years as more people leave than come. We need to slash bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, corporate welfare, and handouts to fraudulent refugees. And we need to unlock our resources to produce cheap energy and affordable homes. So let's produce more stuff rather than adding more people and more money.
Thank you, Pierre. Darcy.
Thank you. I think one of the reasons I took this position to be the candidate for the Liberals is because I'm impressed with the leader. I come from about a 35-year career in business, and I'm very thankful for it. And I like Mark Carney's government and his approach to leading from a position of experience.
He has lost.
He has been the central banker for two major economies in the G7. This is significant. And when I see his actions now, I'm impressed. So for me as a farmer, I want commodity prices for my crops to be good, and he is working on that by getting the economy going east to west, as well as unrupturing the foreign markets. Also, as an oil and gas guy, I want my product shipped to Tidewater, and Bill C5 has already started the movement in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. Sarah.
So my big thing on affordability is actually bringing funding back, like I said. We need more support for farmers. There are grants, there's funding out there that I am more than happy to bring back for you guys. I have something called the Affordable Food for All Act bill, which would reduce the cost burden of groceries on everyday Canadians. And it would ensure that edible food waste still gets put back into food banks and stuff like that, so you don't have to worry as much about how much your grocery bill is going to cost. I also want to put forth a second bill that would actually limit government spending. The $187.8 million that our government just spent in taxpayer dollars, we need to cut that big time. And I want to be the one to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Catherine.
Who will build an economy that works for the people, not the powerful? The heart of the economy is the working people. When people are feeling this worried about whether they can pay the bills, who is the economy really working for? And things are about to get even tougher. Under the Liberals and Conservatives, the powerful and wealthy keep getting further ahead, and the rest of us keep falling further behind. For them, the economy is about investors and corporations and their profits. And that doesn't work for me. It shouldn't work for you. I'm focused on growth that works for you and your family, where you have a chance to get ahead. Right now, that means a plan to buy Canadian and build Canadian, to fight for every job, including jobs in the public sector. Saving Canadian jobs is so vital, especially considering.
Thank you, Catherine. Jeff.
Thank you for the question. Ladies and gentlemen, the Christian Heritage Party is the only party that I'm aware of that advocates eliminating income taxes and business taxes and replacing them with a consumption tax called the fair tax. That will absolutely leave more money in each of your pockets to make groceries more affordable. I think that was the question, where the question started. Economy and jobs. Anyways, so this will stimulate the economy, and it's been said that the first country that goes down this road is the winner, because everybody's going to want to be there and open up their businesses there. I think it would be just a fantastic idea, but that's on the taxation side. But on the spending side, Margaret Thatcher turned England around. Javier Milei has turned Argentina around, first balanced budget in 128 years. There's another government, I don't know its name, down in El Salvador that's turned El Salvador around, believe it or not. It can be done. We can downsize government and balance the budget and make it.
Oh, there's just a minute.
Thank you,
60
Jeff.
seconds, not a lot to answer that question.
So the next question, we're going to start with you, Jonathan, just to give you a heads up. So this one's immigration and population growth. So Alberta's population, we've already heard some of this already in some of the answers, but Alberta's population is growing rapidly, raising concerns about pressure on public services, the treatment of newcomers, and the ability of infrastructure to keep pace. Do you support increased immigration, and how would you ensure newcomers are protected and supported while ensuring services can meet the demands of a growing population?
The People's Party's position on immigration at the moment is that we need to actually just press pause. We shouldn't have more people coming to a country that can barely keep our own fed. We have veterans that can't afford a house to live in, can't afford food to eat. It's unconscionable. I do believe that there is a place for true refugees if they need assistance to come in while there is unrest in their home country, but I also believe very strongly that when that unrest is done, they should be going back home. We have a great country, and it's not going to stay that way if we just keep letting absolutely everybody in without any qualification at all. That being said, my family was immigrants once upon a time, and I'm not opposed to controlled immigration.
Thank you, Jonathan. Bonnie.
Well, I think Jonathan said it best, controlled immigration. It definitely needs to slow down. We are not in a position right now to take care of our own, much less other people. But again, before we can look at immigration and costs, we need to deal with our government bloat before we can deal with immigration. We need to deal with all those middle managers who give immigrants stacks of paper this big when they are doctors. They are the skills we are desperately needing, but our government fails to acknowledge their skills, their education. Yes, we need to slow down immigration. Stopping it entirely is a bad thing. Not acknowledging the skill sets that people bring to continue to deal with our country and the issues we've got is also something that needs to be dealt with. We got to cut the government bloat. Then we can afford to feed everybody.
Thank you, Bonnie. Michael.
Honestly, I'm going to agree with Bonnie on this because a lot of the times people like to blame immigrants for a lot of problems in this country. And most of the time, you can probably blame the welfare state. A lot of the times, our government is just handing out cash to new people in this country. I think there's a bill that was recently passed in Ontario where our Doug Ford is given around $10 or so billion for hotel development for newer people coming into this country. That is, in my opinion, a complete waste of money. We need to be able to, if people are wanting to move this country, they need to be bringing their own money to come here safely. And I personally believe it should be the decision of Alberta to choose who is coming into this province and who is not. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Ashley.
Okay. So for me, immigration is one of Canada's greatest strengths. It brings new skills, energy, ideas, and cultural richnesses to our communities. And at a time when many of our regions are suffering labor shortages and aging populations, immigration can help build a more vibrant, sustainable future for newcomers and longtime residents alike. But immigration must be planned and responsible. The Liberal government made a serious error when they took the advice of McKinsey and Company and set an annual immigration target of 500,000 people with no plan on where these people are going to live, what communities are going to go to, and how we are going to build and adapt these communities to all these newcomers. There was no published targets for temporary residents until just last year. We believe in learning from these mistakes. Immigration targets must be thoughtful, transparent, and aligned with Canada's real capacity and long-term planning for both temporary and permanent immigration. Immigration is great when it's done right.
Everyone is reading off the card. I think we don't
Thank you, Ashley. Pierre.
Our
I agree, and we did it right for 150 plus years, whether it was the frontier pioneers who came and settled the prairies, or the great Italians and Portuguese who came and built roads and founded families across Canada, or my wife who came as a refugee. Her dad picked fruit in a farm field so that he could pay the rent, and now they're a successful story. But over the last 10 years, the Liberals have adopted a post-nationalist ideology. They call it the Century Initiative, to triple our population, to favor globalist interests and multinational corporations at our expense. They've driven down wages with excess temporary foreign workers, with abusing the international student program and allowing fraudulent and often criminal arrivals to come in and abuse our system. That abuse must stop. We must have more people leaving than coming over the next several years as we bring down our population, allow our health care, our housing, our job market.
Oh yeah, they unlimited him. Let's go.
Thank you, Pierre. Darcy.
So I love meeting new Canadians and I love working with new Canadians. They are a whole group of energy that you don't often see. But we have to balance that with people who originally were here, people like myself who came later, and it all has to work together. And I do believe it's time for a little bit of a pause and an adjustment on the immigration. I believe we went a little too rapidly. I'm involved in the University of Alberta and in the Petroleum Engineering Advisory Council. And one of the things that has given the universities all across the country a lot of grief is this student visa fiasco. So I believe the Carney government is presently pausing things and looking at things, and that's critical. If I put myself back in my shoes, my family arrived in the Battle River Valley smelling of garlic sausage and getting off the train speaking all kinds of funny languages. And we were the backbone of this country. So I think we need to continue, but it has to be a balanced approach that needs adjusting.
Thank you, Darcy. Sarah.
I believe in putting Canadians first. I believe that we should lower immigration levels just a little bit, but also reinvest in Canadians. We have tons of people who are living here who have untapped skills, and we can create programs that could reinvest into our economy. If we create programs, more programs, where doctors can come from different countries, they're already here, and reintegrate faster, we can have more doctors, we can have more healthcare professionals. You know, we have people here who can help us, and we need to focus on immigration with balance and compassion, but we also need to recognize that we do need to slow it down a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Catherine.
I think a handful of my colleagues up here need to check their privilege. Immigration is vitally important to our country. And when you look on a global scale, there's a war happening in Gaza, in Ukraine, and significant unrest in the United States. Where will these people be able to go? We should be welcoming people here in Canada. We should allow them to come here. And that doesn't mean that there won't be programs or services for everyone else. It's not pie. It doesn't mean that it's cut and they get everything and you get nothing. That's not the way it works. Canada is vast. There's more than enough area. This riding is vast. It takes me 8 hours just to get across it. There's more than enough space. And if anything, the farmers need hands. Every farmer I spoke to needs help.
Thank you, Catherine. Jeff.
Thank you, Shauna. The Liberals have done everything they can to ruin this country. They tax as much as they can. Thank you. I don't have much to say this time around, so keep it up. I'm just kidding. No, they've done everything they can to ruin this country as fast as they can. They tax as much as they can. They spend as fast as they can. They give away as much money as they can, and they open the doors to everybody who wants to come here. I believe in controlled immigration, but I believe that there needs to be a pause on immigration until we get our own house in order and get things under control here. So I agree that people in war-torn countries, my neighbor Catherine here, they would not be refugees so much as, they would not be immigrants so much as refugees. And so there's an argument for that. But we need to make a complete, just about a complete pause on immigration at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Grant.
I'm going to stand up here because my legs are sore. Well, I'll say this. My family is an immigrant family. We pioneered land about 125 miles from here, and I'm a very proud Western Canadian. I'll tell you this. You guys are being sold a bill of goods here tonight from Mr. Poilievre because he's talking to you about unleashing our energy sector. I would like to know how Mr. Poilievre is going to do that when he refuses to tell us whether he'll leave the UN Climate Accord that completely restricts our carbon. I would like to know about inflation. Inflation is government. Okay. No. Inflation is government debt. And the reason we have lost 40% of our spending in this nation is because of rampant spending that is destabilizing our country. And that is exactly why we have a US president looking at a post-national government that is careening towards destruction. We need to have deeper.
Thank you, Grant. So this next question, Bonnie, we're going to start with you. This one is around government accountability and democracy. So given that several candidates do not reside within the boundaries of this riding, what does local representation mean to you? And what specific actions will you undertake to ensure the perspectives and priorities of the constituents are authentically represented?
Oh, goody. You found my favorite one. I absolutely 100% agree. If you want to run for an area, you need to live here. This longest ballot crap, that's got to stop. We need one person who will be the official agent. That way we don't have one person sponsoring 200 people. But first and foremost, you don't know what's going on here unless you live here. As for government accountability, I absolutely would use my position as a swing vote within a minority government to push for government accountability. I want to release everybody's spending. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonnie. Michael.
I believe first and foremost, you have to be able to live in the riding to be able to represent it. Number two, you have to be able to show up to all the events. You have to be able to go from town to town. This is a big riding and talk to every single person in this riding that you can. And I've seen out of the 200 or so candidates that are running in this election, I don't think even 75% of them are stepping foot in the province. And that's got to stop. I don't know what Thomas or whatever his official agent name is trying to chorus in our writing here, but that's got to stop. I'm sorry. And for representation and accountability for my bid for the member of parliament position would be, I'm not running for a wage. I'm wanting to be a member of parliament for free. I'm not willing to take a wage. I don't want a pension. I want to make sure that at the end of the day you have good representation, and I'm doing it for free. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Ashley.
Well, right off the bat, I'll admit I do not live in this riding. I live in Red Deer, so I'm adjacent to the riding. I'm not thousands of kilometers away, but no, I do not live in within BRC myself. One of the quickest, easiest ways possible to make sure something like this doesn't happen with a long ballot committee is electoral reform. The Green Party's been pushing for this for decades. The Liberal Party campaigned on it in 2015, came into office swearing this was the last election by first past the post, gave it to an inexperienced junior MP who had no idea what they were doing, then underfunded it, under-advertised it, had tiny little town halls that hardly anybody went to, and then just poof, it disappeared. So now here we are, 210 people, most of them on up here as a protest because they're angry at first past the post. Now it ignores people. This system needs to be changed. A Green MP would fight for that every day that they're in Parliament.
Thank you, Ashley. Pierre.
Thank you very much. Look, I'll be honest, having a leader of a political party as your local member of parliament is a trade-off. On the one hand, the leader in truth, lives in hotel rooms and low-budget hotel rooms across the country.
Low-budget hotel rooms. Yeah,
I can assure you,
course.
they live in St. John's, Newfoundland one night, and in Sault Ste. Marie the next, and maybe Port Alberni after that. At the other side, though, is that leader can bring a very powerful megaphone to the local issues of the community. For example, getting a pipeline built from Hardisty over to Prince Rupert or to Kitimat, that is a local issue that requires national leadership. Protecting your right to own a hunting rifle, that is a local issue that requires national leadership. Fixing the prison in Drumheller is a local issue that needs national leadership. I will provide that strong.
Thank you, Pierre. Darcy.
I'm Darcy Spady. I'm from Three Hills, and I don't want to be Prime Minister. Kudos to you, Pierre, for being. I really have had a great career. I've been part of this East Central Alberta community for my whole life, and I really want to just represent the key issues here onto the government benches. I feel very strongly as an energy, oil and gas guy. I've known what happens here in the exploration and the coal bed methane here across this region, in the deeper Duvernay to the south, and I've watched the production grow, the reservoirs, the field engineers who do the work, the service companies. I want to see that prosper, and I want to see the agriculture sector prosper. I'm not asking for much. I'm asking to be your local responsive representative on the government benches. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. Sarah.
For me, I want to be your representative. I don't want to be a representative for anybody else other than the people of Battle River Crowfoot. I do not care what side of the political spectrum you guys are on. We are all on different sides of the spectrum, and that is A-okay. But I am here to listen and to help and to bridge the gap between this political spectrum that we are continuing to see a divide in. It is time that we actually pay attention and listen to what each other are saying and understand that we are essentially all fighting for the same thing. We're just saying it a different way. And I want to be somebody here who can be accountable, be representative for you guys. And like I said, at the end of the day, you guys are my boss. Nobody else. I answer to nobody else but you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Catherine.
Well, I'm from Muskwacheese, Alberta, and once upon a time that used to be a part of this riding. It's no longer a part of the riding. It was back in 2015 when I ran against Kevin. Thank you for being here. But I mean, I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away from the border. It literally is 2 minutes walk from my house. But with all that said, I'm an hour out of Camrose, or 40 minutes out of Camrose, but Drumheller is 2-3 hours away from you guys. So I don't know if that matters all that much. I'm not in Ontario, I'm not from Ontario, and I come to the riding, or I come throughout this entire riding on the regular. I'm here every other day, so I'll still be here, even after all of this.
Thank you, Catherine. Jeff.
Ladies and gentlemen, I call Airdrie home, and I also don't want to be Prime Minister. But the issue of, and of course I will relocate here in a heartbeat if I win. That's not a problem. But the issue of first past the post came up. The Tories, the issue came up in Parliament, and there was a free vote on it not long ago. And the Tories, almost to the man, only 3 dissented, but the Tories resisted and rejected the idea of even talking about first past the post, proportional representation, which would help small parties like ours get a voice in this country. So they're good with first past the post because it works for them. That's not good for the country. It's not good for democracy. But anyways, I can hardly believe it was a free vote. I think they were whipped. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Grant.
2 more people.
think the people of Battle River and Crowfoot are interested in the truth. The truth is the Conservative Party voted for Bill C-4 that will criminalize you if you stop your child transitioning. Each of you will go to jail for 5 years. Pierre Poilievre talks about faith, family, and freedom. It's a sham. And I think the other conversation we continue to need to have is what is really going on. What's going on in this country is that our sovereignty is being portrayed on a national level, and the only response is the people of Alberta that have the faith, the resiliency, the strength, the wealth, and the grit to actually stand up to the selling out of the nation. And so while we're talking about this tonight, remember, we are talking about two Canadas, because what's happening in this country is a pandering to Ontario and Quebec to get this gentleman elected, and you're paying the price. That's what's going on.
Thank you, Grant. Jonathan.
So electoral reform, it's been a problem for quite some time where we see large portions of this country voting, and actually more, I believe, more votes for the Conservative Party than the Liberals in this last election, yet the Liberals have the government. It doesn't really make sense that that's the case. I will be honest, between raising 5 children and working full-time, I haven't been able to go out and hammer out the details on electoral reform, but I would definitely bring that up before Parliament if I was elected. And for those who are interested, I was born and raised in the Battle River Crowfoot area. I spent all of my life here, so it's very near and dear to my heart, and I very much want to stay here and see it become a very prosperous region in this country of Canada.
Thank you, Jonathan. So next question, we're going to start with you, Michael. This one is around healthcare and social services. So Canada's public healthcare system is a core part of our identity, yet many are concerned about the quiet rise of privatization, services being outsourced, user fees increasing, and private clinics becoming more common. Do you believe this trend threatens universal healthcare? And what would you do to protect and strengthen our public system?
Thank you. First of all, I want to point out the Libertarian Party is in favor of private healthcare. I personally believe in a little bit of a hybrid system where we still have free healthcare for those that can't afford basic access to healthcare, while still allowing healthcare for those that can afford it. If they want to pay for it, they should be able to get it fast and easy. Because right now, there are currently waits for up to about 8 hours on average just to see a doctor, not to get treatment, but just to see a doctor. And that's across the board in this communal system that we call the public healthcare system. And if people are able to afford better healthcare or be able to get it faster, why not? We can still keep our public healthcare system, but why not let those that can afford it get better healthcare? Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Ashley.
Okay.
Is he sleeping?
So
okay.
Here in Alberta for a number of years, we've heard
Pierre
about
does not want to be
privatizing
there. This is not a
healthcare.
good
Our
look for
system
him.
is broken. Our system is being attacked. It's not broken by its very nature. It's being attacked by forces that want to privatize it. And I get what Michael's saying about how he supports
You don't want to go. Don't go to the debate.
a blended system of sorts, where there's hybrid system of a blended private and public. But if we don't have enough doctors and nurses and social workers and psychologists and pharmacists now, we're going to have even less when the for-profit side can pay them more than what the government can pay them. So this doesn't actually fix the system. It's going to make it even worse. A green government believes that everyone deserves a doctor, deserves access to pharmacare, deserves access to to dentistry, mental health services, therapy, and so on. We would pass a Primary Care Health Act that would guarantee every citizen's access to these much.
Thank you, Ashley. Pierre.
Quite frankly, it's the Liberal government in Ottawa that has denigrated our healthcare system. To start with the out of control population growth of particularly the last 5 years, our ratio of patient to doctor is now worse than it's ever been. We need to cap immigration to ensure that we can add doctors and nurses faster than we add people. Second, we need to grow our economy faster because our federal healthcare transfer grows at the same rate as our economy. And that means unleashing our resources, lowering taxes, and making our economy stronger. And third, we have 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses who cannot work because they can't get a license. We have a red seal that's already in place for the trades, a national license for the licensed trades. We should do the same thing with a blue seal based on a high standard that immigrant doctors can take a test, prove they're qualified, and get to work in our hospital.
Thank you, Pierre. Darcy.
Thank you. I love the Canadian healthcare system. I've been a user of it my entire life, except for when I was out of the country. And I think we have the greatest system on earth. And frankly, the present government and the work they're doing to make sure it's consistently across all the provinces is a lot of work, and I'm happy the way it's working. Myself, I have 2 new knees brought to me by the Alberta system. And I want to ensure that if I live in New Brunswick or Ontario as a Canadian, I want to make sure I have consistency. So to me, the system as a whole needs to continue as it is and get better with time, because it is one of the best in the world. I've lived out of the country a couple times in the United States and come back into our system, and I can say our system, given that we have our neighbors to the south with theirs, is certainly a preferred system for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. Sarah.
I want to say thank you to Pierre first for elaborating on my point about increasing doctors, international doctors. So thank you for that. Glad we agree on that. But one thing I can do as an independent is, this is exactly where my leverage comes in place in a minority government. I can go in, and if somebody wants my vote, I can say, yeah, sure, I will give you my vote, but I want to write in that we can have something that will benefit the people of Battle River Crowfoot. You want more rural health supports? Sure, let's write that into the bill. Let's make sure that happens. Let's use the leverage that an independent would have in a minority government to get the things that we need in this province. We need more doctors, we need more healthcare workers, and an independent is going to be a great way to try and get that here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Catherine.
An estimated 6.5 million Canadians don't have a doctor, and the problem is only getting worse. And when Pierre Poilievre was in government with Stephen Harper, he cut $43.5 billion in healthcare transfers. Nearly 4 million Canadians will have diabetes medicine for free, and nearly 10 million Canadians will have free birth control because the NDP fought for it. Almost 3.5 million Canadians can see a dentist because the NDP fought for it. At a time like this, Canadians want to fight for the public health care more than ever. And we will take steps to crack down on privatization. We won't sell out our health care to American-style, for-profit system. NDP promised 4 years ago to fight for pharmacare and dental coverage, and we never stopped. And now millions of people will benefit. Next.
I'm really hoping we get to
Thank
the
you, Catherine.
questions here.
Jeff.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Socialist governments and liberal governments promise you the sun, the moon, and the stars. But at the end of the day, as Vladimir Lenin said, socialism is the first and necessary step on the road to communism. So it's where these things go that you have to be concerned about. Nice to have everything for free, but nothing is free. And the CHP government is committed to maintaining our universal healthcare insurance, but like, it doesn't matter to me who delivers it, as long as it's delivered in a time free, first of all, and in a timely manner. Did I say free? Sorry about that. Anyways, so we need to maintain the best of the universal healthcare system that we have. That is our insurance system. But again, it really doesn't matter who delivers the service as long as it's done in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Grant.
Well, I find it very interesting that we're speaking about a provincial issue in a federal election debate. I'd remind you that the only relevant issue in the discussion about our health care in Alberta is the fact that we're submitting equalization payments to Ottawa and we're dropping about 10 to 12 billion dollars a year. If we actually had that money, we could have an amazing healthcare system. And where that money's going is to support the broken infrastructure within this nation and to prop up Ontario and Quebec. So if you really want to talk about a healthcare system that's working, let's actually look at where that money's going that's from Alberta. And I celebrate our healthcare system. I celebrate the universal healthcare system. It's led the world. But let's be real about the economics of this, because it's equalization that's the problem here, and the country's broken. And we are going down the drain economically. Inflation is because we're burdened with debt, and there's no plan.
Thank you, Grant. Jonathan.
Grant, I'd like to thank you for reminding us all that it is the province that chooses how to spend the money. I need each and every one of you to go out and talk to your MLA and ask them why there is so much bloat on the top of AHS. There are way more managers than there are workers. It does not work that way. If my company worked that way, we'd never get anything done. As far as private versus public healthcare, I truly believe that we already have a two-tiered system. We have lots of people spending lots of money outside of our country to get care faster. If we allow private enterprise to provide these care inside of our country, that keeps more money in our economy, which then increases our economy and gives everybody else a better chance at making, it's tax revenue, it's everything. It keeps the money here where it should be.
Thank you, Jonathan. Bonnie.
Well, first off, I want to pull everybody's attention to the fact that Mr. Poilievre totally skipped the accountability portion of the government accountability question. But carrying on, I do appreciate that he reiterated my point about immigration and not the Canadian government not accepting the governments and the qualifications of people. However, healthcare is provincial. I hate to say it. I want to help. I want to fix it. It's provincial. I personally would love to see it go federal, because I've gone province to province to province with my job, and suddenly the things I can do in Alberta, I can't do in Saskatchewan. I can't do in BC. I can't do in New Brunswick. I would like to see it come back provincial so that we do not have individuals such as Ms. Smith completely selling us out.
Thank you, Bonnie. So now we are going to take a 20-minute break and come back at 8:30. So get up, refresh yourselves, use the facilities, have conversations amongst yourself and enjoy. And we'll be back here promptly at 8:30.
Okay, well, I'm probably going to end the live stream here. Thank you for watching. Check out my interview with candidate Michael Harris on the channel. And you can watch the rest of the debate. I'm watching on Western Standard. But at the moment, they're taking a 20-minute break, and it is 9:12 here, so.